Welcome back to the Sacred Roots podcast. Today we're going to go on a bit of a journey to understand what magnetism really is. I am so excited that we are diving into this topic because I have a secret for you. Or truth bomb, I don't really know how to call it yet. You are naturally magnetic. You are magnetic, like it's part of how your body, your brilliant body, is built. But are you tapping into that magnetism? That becomes the question. Because if you are magnetic and you can call in naturally with effortlessness the things that you desire, then why aren't you experiencing or receiving or having all those things that you desire? Where is the block? What could be happening here? This is what we're going to tap into. And then at the end of this episode, I'm going to give you a 4 steps journey to help you reclaim your magnetism today. And you can use this every single day. It's really going to help you. So let's go on a little bit of a scientific exploration to understand what I really mean when I say you are naturally magnetic. Every part of your body or everything in nature that has an electric current to it has a small electromagnetic field. And as you know, for your muscles to move, there's a small electric current that is moving through there. It's the fire element within your body that is moving and that is making your muscle move, right? And so that is creating an electromagnetic field. And scientists have observed that we have an electromagnetic field around the brain, and then we have a really big one around the heart. And guess what? The electromagnetic field of your heart is 60 times bigger than the electromagnetic field of your brain. So guess what happens when you make a decision with your head compared to a decision with your heart? Which one's going to be most magnetic? The decision you make with your heart. But do you have a tendency to follow your heart or your head? And then do you receive what you want? Do you magnetize it? Does it show up in your life? Is it because you made that decision with your head, maybe? Right, you see where I'm going. The more you make decisions with your heart from a heart-centered place, the more you do things with love, the more magnetic you're going to be. But love is not the only ingredient to magnetism. In a way it is, because love is all that is, but it's expressed in different words. So let's go there in a second. First, let's have a look at what magnetism isn't and what a lot of people in the business world, in the entrepreneurial world, are masking as magnetism. Because we speak a lot about magnetism in branding, in visuals, in saying the right thing, blah, 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 writing the right email, messaging needs to be magnetic. Like we speak about all of that. And while the right words might touch the right people, this has very much an energy of chasing. That is really just strategy. But if you're reading an email and that person is writing all the right words, I'm sure that it's happened to you. You've read an email and that person said all the right things, but you were like, oh no, that just felt terrible. That's because you can sense the energy of chasing and trying to convince you on the other side, right? True magnetism doesn't come from chasing, it attracts. True magnetism happens when something is. So, what do I mean by that? True magnetism happens when there's wholeness, fullness, beingness, radiance, when someone is and knows that that's enough. When you move from the knowing that your presence is enough, that's incredibly magnetic. Because you're not trying to convince, you're not trying to get, you're not trying to take. And what happens energetically is that the person on the other side can feel that you're not trying to take anything from them. You're not trying to please them. You're not trying to sell. You're not trying to have their love. You're not trying to have their approval. You're not trying to take their money. So the person that's reading your email, watching your video, listening to your podcast, they then feel safe because they can be whole, because nothing is expected of them. Because you're not trying to take anything energetically or even financially from them. And that makes you incredibly magnetic. So if you're not trying to take anything from the outside, if you're not seeking approval, if you're not chasing, it's because you have everything within. And not do you just know that, because I'm sure you've already heard you have everything you need within. Yes, but what about truly embodying it, living it, breathing it? I have everything I need within me. I am everything that I need. So this is about choosing yourself instead of waiting for other people to choose you. Seeing yourself instead of waiting for other people to see you. Loving yourself instead of waiting for other people to compliment you so that you can love yourself. So magnetism is really an inside job about loving yourself. So it has to do with love in the way that, as I explained at the beginning of this podcast, it's about doing things with love. The more you can pour love into what you do, the more you can pour your heart into what you do, people are going to feel and receive that love, and that's going to make you magnetic. But it's also about loving yourself so much that you move from a place of wholeness, of fullness, of presence, of completion, because then you're not trying to take anything. You're letting the other person be who they are, judge you if they want, love you if they want, reject you if they want, because you're not letting it mean anything about you. And that wholeness, that fullness is incredibly powerful. First of all, it's healing for your soul when you can get there. And the path to getting there will be a healing journey, but it's incredibly magnetic, and it will help you reach many, many more people in your life. It will help you make a much greater impact when you can move from that wholeness rather from that chasing, convincing, selling, seeking approval, proving yourself, right? I'm sure you can recognize some parts of you in all these things that have said, oh yes, right, I did that launch and I was in the energy of trying to prove myself. Oh yes, I did that story and I was actually just trying to get people's money because I don't know how to pay my rent next month. Or, oh yes, I did that thing and I was actually seeking approval because this is a new project for me and I'm not sure it's the right thing, or, whatever it is. These little ounces of doubt, of chasing, of searching for something outside of you, people can feel it and they will respond to that rather than what you're saying. So while branding and messaging and visuals are important, they actually do not matter when the energy that you move from is wholeness, completion, deep, deep self-love, and a true sense of being unapologetic. That's going to make you incredibly magnetic. We spoke about that in the previous episode. If you haven't listened to it, please do, because these two are deeply intertwined. And I was speaking about true authenticity, and living from your truth is the key to ease, because it is connected to your magnetism, and that wholeness is going to make you, that wholeness within is going to make you experience wholeness without, and ease without as well. And so when you can move from that place of wholeness and authenticity, you're going to be magnetic as well. Authenticity is really the second key to being magnetic, because when you express all that too muchness, it might be too much for certain people. but it's going to be exactly what it's supposed to be for the right people. Because think about it. Magnets, they attract, but they also repel. So magnetism means that you're calling in the right people, but you're also sending away the wrong people, the people that you never wanted to have in your life anyway. You know, I was reflecting the other day. I gave a talk here in Squamish at an event, and I was reflecting on my journey and how I went from having a life that looked perfect on paper to then divorcing to now having a life that is in full alignment with my soul, my purpose, and my essence. And I was sharing in that talk a little bit of my story and why it reached a point where I had to experience a divorce, which was very difficult and earth-shattering to then ask myself the right questions of who am I and why am I here? And it's because I didn't know who I was that I had built a life that wasn't me. I was hiding so much of who I was, so much of my essence, so much of my beliefs, so much of what I thought, so much of my feelings. I was hiding so much of what I was, and I wasn't even aware of it because I was just doing it I had been doing it for so long. It was part of my conditioning, of my survival mechanism, that I had lost all form of magnetism. And as soon as we divorced and I decided to honor who I was and trust myself and quit the banking job and move to Canada to study energy healing and start writing my first book, which is really all of who I am. Like, I love writing. I love energy healing. I love spirituality. I love to help others. I love to really be the fire that's gonna, the little sparkle that's gonna turn your fire on, that's gonna help you step into more healing, more wholeness, more of your purpose and highest potential. That is my passion, my purpose. Once I started honoring that, suddenly I started meeting the right people. That's when I met my husband. That's when I started meeting soul sisters, like I'm telling you, girls that I meet and fall in love with straight away that are now, the godmothers of my kids. Like, so many things started falling into places. I became so magnetic once I started honoring who I was and falling in love with who I was and expressing myself unapologetically. And I would lie if I said it was easy. That's also what I was sharing in the previous podcast, is that often the path through ease is going to happen through challenges, because you're going to have to decondition so much of the way you've been coping, behaving, and showing up for the past decades. And so I lost friends on that way. I've lost people that I loved. I've lost many things. But I had to let go of all of that because they weren't aligned with who I truly was to begin with. Or they weren't able to see or honor or love who I truly was. And so while I love these people, and the part of me will always love them, by letting go of them, I was able to call in the right people. Because it is when you express yourself unapologetically that the people who are meant to be in your life will recognize you. And that is true for your personal relationships, but also for your professional relationships, for your clients, for the people you're meant to do collaborations with or partner with. Don't hide anything, because then you'll attract the wrong people. And then that's gonna not unfold in your highest good. Or maybe it will, because it will teach you a lesson that will help you step into the highest path, and it will be for your highest good in the end. But maybe you don't need to put yourself through that detour, right? Okay, so I wanted to share with you something very practical, because I love to support you with very practical, hands-on things. So if you're driving or on a walk, make a little note of go back to this episode so that you can do this, because this is going to help you to attract much more of what you want in your life. And the first thing that I want you to do is to get really, really clear on what are the things that you're chasing right now. What are the things that you're longing? Because that energy of really longing and chasing, it can be very repelling. Now, it can also be insights of this is what your soul wants. This is what you're called to create. But for you to be able to experience it and magnetize it, you need to move away from that energy of longing and craving and chasing, because it's never going to happen like that. Oftentimes we are craving these things because we think that these things are going to fill us in. They're going to bring something to us. So ask yourself, what am I longing? What am I craving and why? What do I believe these things are going to bring me? Whether it's $20,000 months or a six-figure launch or a house or a travel or clothes. What do I believe these things are going to bring to me? And these are cues for then to start filling these holes yourself. Don't let these holes, quote unquote, be filled by external things. And I know it's hard because so much of our society is built around chasing the next thing and the house and the holiday and the dopamine shot and the reel. And like we are so stimulated to always chase and get and get and get and the next thing, but it leaves us empty because it just fulfills us for half a second and then it doesn't anymore because it comes from the outside, not from the inside. And so I'm inviting you, of course, to fill yourself in from the inside, to do the healing work, the soul work, the inner child work that is going to help you move from a place of wholeness, where you see yourself, where you love yourself, where you honor yourself, where you recognize yourself, and when you're not chasing these things on the outside. That's going to make you so much happier to begin with, so much more at peace, so much more healthy. Two, because your body and your emotions and your mind are deeply intertwined and so much more magnetic and successful in your business. So while these things that you're chasing are going to give you keys, the second step is really to also have a look at what parts of myself don't I love? What parts of myself am I judging? Am I rejecting? Am I hiding? You can sit with these questions. If you don't have any answers come up, don't worry, because there's a very simple way to figure that out. And that is to observe your thoughts throughout the day. Listen to all the things that you're telling yourself. Listen to all the voices in your head, especially when you stretch yourself a little bit, when you express your too muchness, or when you do something that you think you're not enough at. This is all giving you cues of the protectors, the wounds, the fears, the inner child that is not fully in love with herself. And it can be very hard to face. And so I deeply, deeply honor you if you dare to do this exercise. But I promise you that on the other side, there's freedom. Freedom to be wildly yourself. Freedom to be fully in love with yourself. And freedom to have a business that makes an incredible impact because you love yourself. And that makes you magnetic. And not loving yourself of, oh, I'm the best, you should look at me, because that is not love. That is unworthiness masked with love and arrogance. And we don't do these masks and superficial appearance things here on this podcast or in this life. We do the deep work, don't we? So I just want to honor you because I know how hard it can be to look at ourselves and look at ourselves in the mirror, but I truly invite you to do it. And if it's hard, just be really, really compassionate with yourself and reach out for support. And I teach much more about that in my free training that you can find the link in the show notes of this episode to support you more with that. And I highly recommend that you do. because I definitely did not get here on my own. So get the support that you need, whether it's working with a therapist, whether it's having a conversation with a friend that you know is going to listen and mirror back love to you, or, reach out, watch my free training, come into my world so that I can support you too. So step 1 is get clear on what you're craving, what you're longing, and release and clear that. Step 2, love yourself. Learn to love all parts of yourself. Have a look at all the places where you judge yourself, where you dim yourself, where you're not expressing yourself, where you reject yourself, and try to make peace with these. Step 3 is once you have made peace with who you are and you're more in love with yourself, express that into the world. Be unapologetic, be authentic, be your witchy, crazy, sexy, wild you, because that is incredibly magnetic. And yes, it will repel some people. And as they go away and criticize and judge you, clap, clap, you've done the right thing, because the law of polarity teaches us that criticism is actually praise. Everything that you receive is also its opposite. Maybe not from the same person, but from someone else. It's the same energy, just expressed in a different way. So let people go away. Let people fall away, because the right ones are coming in. And then the 4th step, once you've done all of that, and this brings us back to the beginning of this episode, is then align your actions with your heart, with your intention. Make sure that your intentions are heart-led, soul-led, that you want to serve, that you're doing things with love, that you're really here to help, because people can sense it. I'm sure you can sense it when you see it on social media, when you see posts from people who are, again, just trying to convince you or get something from you. And when you see other people that are saying the very same thing, but with a totally different energy, you can sense that they are just wanting to serve, help, and love you. And that energy feels so good. And I want more people like that in the world. Please be one of these people. But the only way to get there is to heal yourself, fall in love with yourself, let people judge and criticize and reject you, and let them free to be and to think whatever they want about you, because that freedom that you're giving them is going to set you free and make you so much more magnetic, which will then help you to make a much greater impact, which is what I want for you, for your soul, and all the people that you're meant to reach in your life. And if you want more support, click the link that is in the show notes of this episode, because it's going to guide you to my free training, where I'm going to help you to be much more magnetic, to be much more in ease, to be much more soul aligned in your business, so that you can make that impact, so that you can live with much more abundance and joy and fulfillment in your life. And this is what I am all about. All right, my beautiful, I would love to know, what was your biggest takeaway from this podcast? If you've loved it, share it on Instagram, or send me a DM, or share it with your friends. It doesn't matter, but I love to hear from you. I would love to know how this is landing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the free training so that I can support you further. So much love. Remember, you're doing amazing no matter where you're at on your journey. You've got this, and I love you. I'll see you in the next episode.